They're living the American dream. Here, a little hard work can take anyone from rags to riches.
The American dream is broken in our country because what type of family you're born into doesn't exactly determine what your life as an adult is going to be. Not anymore, at least. Do you think the American dream means you'll be driving around in a Lambo as soon as you graduate from college? Think again. The idea that every American has an equal opportunity to move up in life is something we hear every day. The truth is that moving up the social ladder has declined over the past decades. Wages are lower, and Gen Z is the first generation in history expected to be poorer than their parents. That's just not acceptable now, is it? A stable office job is something that's always been considered the dream life, but nowadays most people think of offices as cesspools, and their true desire is to run far, far away from them. The American dream is centered on the infinite potential for growth because we've been told from an early age that a person from a middle-class family should have 6 things: a house, a shiny new car, a college degree, retirement security, health insurance, and vacation time. But many of these things have become more like a fantasy thanks to the horrible economy, or at least put on back order, like the Gucci belt you've probably never been able to afford. There's a fear that we might have reached our limits in modern-day America. And in some way, there's no longer room for growth. It's like we have no windows, doors, or other ways to escape, and the walls are closing in around us. What a nightmare! The idea that you can be as happy as you want to be, as happy as you can make yourself, is coded into our DNA as Americans. And most of the time that makes us miserable while we're running after the American dream we were sold as children. Having the idea that a person can be self-made and can move up the social ladder is extremely naive when you realize it's actually based on class, gender, family background, inherited career, and religion, because that's what separates the American fiber of human ambition from other cultures. The moral and psychological pull of your family, community, career, and religion has faded into the fog because being self-made is something that everybody expects from you and is portrayed as something easier than it is. You're made to think finding a workout plan, diet, expensive brands, and other things that'll make you look cool is something that you have to do, and most of the time, you'll literally burn yourself out for those things and push away everyone around you in the process. The cliche, "I'm just living the dream," could seem like an effective response to reassure new friends at a barbecue or family reunion that everything is good in your life. But in reality, this might be the clearest call for help anybody can make. Living the dream means that you're working long and hard to become socially acceptable, start a family, buy a house, and try to get yourself a decent pension. This signifies that you're making every effort in a lifetime battle to achieve more or less impossible goals. The American dream is crushing American dreams. Think about the fact that we enter a graduated payment schedule when we graduate from college. Earning money is the first step towards achieving the American dream, plenty of it. So, to get a leg up, you're told you need to have an education. Forget about the actors, professional athletes, singers, and Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, and Steve Jobs for a minute. Graduating from college doesn't ensure success. The truth is that if you take the time to get done with your degree, you could find yourself in a huge financial hole that might take your whole life to crawl out of. Americans chasing the American dream are in trouble because 2/3 of students graduate in debt, and 65% of high-debt students are confused or overwhelmed by the borrowing process. Most people continue to make payments on their debt well into their 30s and beyond, a lot older, in fact. As of 2022, $1.75 trillion in student loan debt is being repaid by 3% of families led by someone over 65. Let that sink in. The message that college is supposed to be the best time of your life will come from the memories of frat parties and football games, but you could also get monthly bills until retirement to bring back the good times. In the modern day, nostalgia is totally overrated. Part of it will be mailed to you each month. Even after graduating from college, the first step towards achieving the American dream, most people will obviously end up working disappointing jobs. Nearly 4 in 5 students work an average of 19 hours per week while in school, requiring them to pay off some debt or save money. But for today's bachelor's degree grads, the same employment may be the best option available. More than half of the class of 2022 graduates are working in professions that don't even need a degree, so what's the point? Since there are more college graduates than there are low-paying jobs for them in the job market, more than a fifth of recent graduates are working in low-wage jobs and make less than $25,000 annually. Similar to finding a needle in a haystack, job hunters are the needle and employers are allergic to hay, so neither party wants a needle. Even if you're among the lucky few to be hired for a position in your field of study, you'll probably hate your job. Only 28% of workers under 25 report being happy with their jobs last year. This is probably because only around 75% of workers are usually completely engaged in their jobs. So, if we combine certain data with some boring math that doesn't make sense, we can assume that more than 100% of youngsters are either grumpy or doing absolutely nothing. Regardless of a person's employment status, it's highly unlikely that their income will ever be enough to satisfy the American dream criteria. To put it another way, the average American household earns around $50,000 a year compared to the $130,000 cost of the American dream. The average income falls $80,000 short of what's required to live the lifestyle of the American dream. So no, you won't be able to afford a Ferrari or Lamborghini or buy clothes from Off-White or Prada. Even if the majority of household earnings were doubled, the American dream would remain out of reach for most people. Honestly, most people are better off starting an OnlyFans account or becoming a YouTuber these days because they pay way more than the average job. Not that we're recommending you start an OnlyFans account, but hey, do whatever feels right for you and your future. Most people can remember hearing that they could become anything when they grew up. That may be the case, but for the majority of people, their job will offer only a little more than half of what they had expected. So don't rely on whatever your childhood hopes were. Even Billy didn't become the astronaut he always wanted to become. The pursuit of the American dream starts at the beginning of just about everything. 70% of students in a study conducted by Auburn University put on weight by graduation, some by as much as 37 pounds. They linked the lack of exercise to late-night studying driven by vending machines, unhealthy cafeterias, and late hours. College seems to be a place exploding with potential for future health concerns and career development. So you put in a lot of school time to finish college and you start your pursuit of the dream, gaining a few pounds in the process. What's next? Despite working fewer hours, Americans spend their downtime watching videos online and indulging in other unproductive activities. You're basically becoming fatter as you watch this. Sorry about that. The issue, though, goes beyond laziness. Attempting to save money on food by usually going for fast food and unhealthy snacks is a part of the American struggle. Less than 10% of American disposable income is spent on food. Food appears to be an easy spot to save some extra cash when trying to cover the roughly $80,000 gap between your wage and your ideal life. Unfortunately, your thought process will result in a spare tire on your belly. We don't intend to fat shame, but it's true that most Americans can't afford the kinds of meals that are best for their health. It's the undeniable product of the American dream. You've retired, which means you could be all alone with all the debt you've collected over the years now. The American dream may include relaxing and enjoying the benefits of a lifetime of work, but those who plan to do that after 2033 should probably have a huge personal savings cushion or plan to work longer than they had hoped. After 2033, recipients of Social Security payments will only be covered for 75% of their benefits. Additionally, a record 7.2 million Americans aged 65 and older are employed in part because they feel too financially pressured to stop. Don't forget that some of these people could still be making payments on the student loans that put them in this situation in the first place. In the future, Americans will be able to send their grandchildren to school as a part of their relaxing retirement hobbies, but they might have to do it while holding a part-time job as a bus driver. This is the reality of the American dream for you. Thanks for sticking around till the end of the video. See you in the next one.